Hey, everybody. I'm excited to have Jerry Shkavritko today from Valverax as our business spotlight interview. My name's Brent Thompson. I'm a business coach at Action Coach Lake Norman. We're your local training, education, and business coaching firm. I'm going to get started here. So, Jerry, if you just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your business, and the services and products that you guys offer.
Sure. My name is Jerry Shkavritko, like you mentioned, and I have a company called Valverax. At Valverax, we do porch enclosures, porch conversions, screen rooms, sunrooms, and additions. Those are our primary products and services that we offer. I also have like a side, you could call it a hobby, a podcast, just JS podcast, or if you type in my full name, you'll find it, where I interview whether it's local business owners or whether it's other business owners remotely. And I just try to get a little bit of knowledge and nuggets out of them and share that with whoever's listening. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and what I do.
Awesome. So you've been in business a while, so I want you to kind of take it back a little bit to square one. If you could do one thing differently, what would one thing that you would do different when you started your business?
So going back, if I was to start the business today, I would prioritize networking more, or more time for networking. You still got to do everything else in business, but I would prioritize more time for networking, getting to know other people that potentially could join the business, or at least join the business in some kind of loosely coupled partnership or ways of partnering with people. Definitely would prioritize more networking.
No, that's good. Networking is critical. You know, it's the long game, but once you put in the time and learn the people, it's referrals are awesome and they come from networking. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So kind of along the same lines, what's your biggest learning that you've had as an owner and an employer since starting your business?
I think the biggest thing is the mindset shift. Like when you're an employee, you're thinking of the business, of everything going on, your job from an employee perspective for the most part. When you become an employer, there's things that you potentially haven't thought of from the other side. So I think the mind shift is the biggest thing going from employee to employer. You're putting in extra work and you don't mind it. Like that's just, that's your business, that's your baby. You're just doing it. You're not like, oh, okay, I need to get paid extra because I put in an hour or two or 10 or whatever here.
Right.
It's like, no, you just do it because you do it.
Yeah.
So
And
I
what
would say that's one of the biggest things.
good. And do you have a specific way that you work on your mindset in
Uh,
that shift?
Yeah, not necessarily. It's more about kind of like understanding what is within your control, and you do everything you can within
Right.
your control, and whatever is not in your control, I mean, you can do again everything that's in your control to hopefully get a better outcome for your situation. And then whatever's not in your control, you got to let it go. You just
Yeah.
got to let it go.
Right. No, that's very good advice. Um, so all kinds of people have their own opinions and their own perspectives on what it is to be a business owner. And I think we probably can say there's some misconceptions out there. So what are some common misconceptions of that people have of being a business owner, and how do you address those things?
I think one is again kind of that employee employer mindset. From an employee's perspective, an employee may think like, oh, he's a business owner, he's making millions or whatever. When it comes to smaller businesses, in the beginning especially, you're not making anything. You're putting money in, you're putting time in, you're investing into the company, you're not getting anything back at that time. Hopefully you're doing all that to hopefully get something in return in later years. But I think the biggest misconception would be where employees may be thinking that, oh, okay, this business owner is making bank on the company or something like that, because usually they will see, depending on their roles and so on, they will see the income coming in. It's like, okay, we sold X amount of jobs for Y amount of money, so then there was this much money that came into the business.
Mhm.
And then when it comes to expenses, some of them will see it too, but they'll discount it. It's like, yeah, there's expenses or whatever, but look how much was brought in.
Right. No,
So yeah.
that's big.
Right. So like especially in the beginning, business owners, I think, invest a lot of time, a lot of money into their businesses, not really getting much return, or whatever return is coming back, they're reinvesting it into people, into processes or equipment or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, very good. So you've had some growth, been in business for, 4 to 5 years now. What do you attribute your growth to?
Overall scaling and growing, it will hinge on the people that are around the business owner. So having the right people in the right roles is going to accelerate that growth or help grow.
Mhm.
Not having the proper people or people that don't fit in the culture even though we may be growing in sales, but then there's going to be issues with customers, with production, things like that. So definitely having the right people on board is what helps with growth.
Well, that leads right into what I was going to talk to you about next as far as team goes. And you're an employer. So when you're hiring, what kind of qualities or attributes are you looking for in hiring someone onto your team? And then piggybacking on that, how do you foster a positive work environment and culture in your business?
Yeah, so just a few of the um, qualities that I look for would be people who can communicate well, and not just communicate in terms of having the right vocabulary or the right way of saying something, or saying something clearly, but also how they communicate under pressure. Under pressure. So having like crucial conversation skills. There's a book called Crucial Conversations. I'm not sure if you've seen it or not, but having those kind of skills when stakes are high, emotions are high, and people have opposing opinions, can the person communicate well in that case? Like
Mhm.
kind of state their side of the story and try to get to some kind of shared meaning in there. So that's very important. And then also work ethic is important. If somebody is just there to kind of put in the minimum amount of work and just get paid for that, I mean, there's certain jobs out there for those people, but it may not be within my company. So having a great work ethic, putting in um, extra effort, whether it's mental or physical, but putting extra effort, extra care into things is something I look for. Um, and then as far as fostering the positive environment, we set goals and metrics that people should hit, and we set it together. So it's not like just micromanaging the people, but more like, okay, what can we actually achieve as a team and individually? And then we see whether we achieve it or not. And if not achieved, then we figure out, why was it not achieved? What can we do better? So having those kind of conversations, and then giving the people freedom to perform, to do what they need to do without being micromanaged.
Mhm.
Although that side, what I've noticed is that we still need accountability, because just freedom alone, people end up not knowing, not necessarily not knowing what to do. They know what they need to do, but they still need some kind of communication, some kind of cadence on a regular basis to stay accountable. So those are just some of the qualities and how we go about them in our culture.
No, I like what you share there when you say, "Hey, we want to give freedom, but we also want to get, there also has to be an element of accountability there." That's wonderful management, and that saves time and money, and maybe a few nerves along the
Right.
way as well. So I asked you earlier, kind of what you would do differently. Along those same lines, if there's aspiring entrepreneurs out there all the time, right, ready to jump into their passion and start a business, what advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur that's ready to jump into the business ownership world?
This goes related to people. To me, it's always about people. So having the right team around you, you got to kind of like cultivate and bring in that team in order to achieve anything greater than you alone can achieve. So finding the right people that would fit the culture you're trying to develop within the company
Mhm.
would be the thing to go after. There's procedures and sales and marketing and all of that that needs to happen, but people are core to everything that needs to happen within the company.
Great. All right, we're going to wrap with one more question. How do people find you? What is the best way to get in touch with you? And any other thing you'd like to share today?
Sure. If somebody's looking for any kind of product or service that we offer with Valverax, like porch enclosures, screen rooms, sunrooms, they can look us up online. Valverax is spelled VALVERAX.com. Or if they want to tune in to the podcast, just look up my name, Jerry Shkavritko, or JS Podcast, and I'm on Spotify or YouTube. They can find me there as well.
All right. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today and doing this interview. You shared some awesome nuggets for those that'll be listening, and we just wish you all the best in your future endeavors with your company and running a business.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks so much.
You bet.